Hello, Angela. I'm just reading the live chat and I'm not quite familiar with the YouTube format. I am live. Yeah. So welcome. So for this practice, well, actually, I'm going to mainly be talking. We'll just wait another minute or two, let people arrive. So you can sit, you can lie, but whatever position you're in, let it be as comfortable as you can be. So first of all, let me begin by welcoming you to my home for one, to my home, and as well to my practice. I know a lot of you we've shared the practice together with the Ekhart team. I can just see I'm sitting just far enough away so I can't see. Hi, Claudia. Yes, welcome to my home, welcome to my practice. So as I say, I'm going to mainly be giving a little talk on the yoga practice, my experience of the yoga practice, and really how how the yoga practice relates to the world around us. In fact, the situation, shall we say, around us at the moment. What I'd like to do to begin with is for us all just to sit or lie, whichever position you're in, for a moment. So we sit together, we sit as a group, we sit as a community, even if you're at home on your own. We're sitting with the knowledge that we all share this practice, we all share this existence, we all witness and experience this present moment. So finding whichever position feels right for you, I'm just sitting for a minute or so. Bring the tips of your index fingers in contact with the tips of your thumbs, which is Jnana Mudra. As you bring the back of your hands to rest onto your legs, your shoulders settled, and either just gazing vacantly into space or closing your eyes. And so there's a real sense of arriving to yourself, arriving to the expression of the here and now, this present moment. Connecting physically with your body. An awareness without judgment of how your body feels. Can you feel the movement? Can you feel the flow of your breath? Your breath arising from stillness. Your breath returning back to the stillness. So it's a focus, it's an awareness without intensity. So whatever the effort it requires for you to notice, to be aware of your breath, can you take some of that effort away? Simply being with yourself, being with your practice. Then still, with your eyes closed or your gaze lowered, resting now the palms of your hands together in front of your chest, in front of your heart center. It's traditional to begin a yoga practice by chanting the Om mantra. So we're going to chant the Om mantra 3 times. sound, the vibrations from the Shruti box. So please feel free, wherever you are, to join me as we unite in sounding the Om mantra. So after this next breath out, take a slightly deeper breath in. Now bowing your head toward your hands in a symbolic gesture of surrendering your head to your heart, yourself, to your higher self. And then as you begin to open your eyes, if your eyes are closed, releasing your hands, and you can find a position that feels right for you. So I suggest if you're sitting, you can almost treat this as a meditation, as I speak. But as I say, to be at ease with your posture, to be at ease with yourself is more important. So just getting anything you need to sit comfortably. So I thought I'd relate to you my experiences of these times, and being as I'm a yoga teacher, and it's what I do here on EkhartYoga, how yoga has influenced or become a coping strategy as well through these challenging times. Now, we all we'll experience very similar emotions through these times. So certainly anxiety, fear, maybe hope, and it's all it's perfectly natural to feel these things, and to try and think or to feel otherwise is almost arrogant. And so first and foremost, let yourself be. I'll let myself experience these different thoughts, these feelings, these emotions without judgment. It's perfectly natural. But then we have the tools of our yoga practice. And I say tools because yoga, in one sense, it's a state, it's an experience. But in another sense, it's the tools, the approach, so the postures, the meditation, the breathing, and usually one helps to reveal the other. So when we practice, maybe in more, I don't know what to say, normal times, it can be a physical practice. We practice maybe to stay in shape, to maintain flexibility, or just for the delight of it, to make these shapes with your body, to spend these times with ourselves. But the practice is so much more than just a physical practice. And maybe as we move through these past few months, as you stay with us and you practice the yoga, that it maybe reveals a little more to yourselves, about yourselves. And so when we move through, most of us are familiar with the asanas, the postures. There's the focus, there's the detail on the position of the body, the transitions if you're doing the flow from one posture through to the next. And as I said before, these are really just tools. It's a tool to help you to bring your mind into one place, your mind into focus. So if you're standing on one leg, if you're doing a tree posture, you're not really thinking about anything else as opposed to the shape that you make with your body. And in that process of being aware of the shape you're making with your body, so you leave behind for that moment the thoughts from your past, the projections towards your future. You're realizing, in a way, the here and now, this present moment, which is a very precious place to be. So with this inquiry, as we practice, we're aware, yes, of the physicality, the body, we're aware of our breath, but then we become maybe a little bit more aware of ourselves, of our thoughts, feelings, our emotions. We can consider, and this is quite important, we can consider all of our thoughts to be uninvited. We have absolutely no control over the nature of our thoughts. I'll say that again. We have no control over the nature of our thoughts. But with our practice, with awareness, with grace, we can become aware of our reaction to our thoughts. And that, again, is a very precious realization. I can never remember the person who quoted, "I think, therefore I am." I can never remember. I'm sure somebody out there can remember who quoted that. "I think, therefore I am," which is only part of the story. Because, as I just said, we have no control over the nature of our thoughts. But if we can witness, if we can watch our thoughts, then, as I said, we have to some degree control over our reaction. So, "I think, therefore I am" is only part of the story. Because what aspect of yourself is it that's able to witness, to watch your thoughts? I just want to think about maybe for a moment. Because certainly from my own experience, as I move through the different stages of my life, I never really was that aware of the thought process. I have a thought, I react to the thought. I have another thought, I react to that thought. And that seemed to be the natural state of affairs. It's only through, in my experience, through my yoga inquiry, my yoga practice, that maybe there was a bigger picture emerging. Because if I can watch my thoughts, if I can witness my thoughts, well then, for one, in a little way it disempowers the thoughts, but then it leads to another realization. So I'm not just my thoughts, I'm not just the process of witnessing my thoughts, but there's an aspect of me which is also the space between the thoughts. Now, you can consider this space just to be a pause, a void, waiting for the next thought to make itself or to manifest itself. But that space between our thoughts is a very precious place to be. In a sense, it's yourself coming home to yourself. Now, I use an analogy of writing or composing a piece of music to help to maybe expand upon that idea that we're not just our thoughts, but we're also the spaces between our thoughts. So not that I've ever composed a piece of music in my life, but when you're writing a piece of music, or you're reading a piece of music, or listening to a piece of music, we're mostly familiar with the notes, the sounds, the pitch. But if there wasn't the spaces between each note, it'd just be a cacophony of sound. It'd just be nonsense. And so as much a part of that piece of music, the piece of music, are the spaces between the notes. And how that relates to ourselves is, as I said before, as much a part of who we are, this idea of ourselves, are the spaces between our thoughts. Or from a slightly different perspective, maybe we can look at the space into which the thoughts arise, the space into which our thoughts dissolve. So that space is always there. Now, the nature of our thoughts, the nature of how we feel, our emotions, in fact, our bodies, the world around us, is constantly changing. So constantly in a state of change, temporary and ephemeral in nature. But in that space between each breath, in that space between each thought, so the stillness, the clarity, never changes. It's always there. So no matter what your day brings to you, no matter what this unfolding life reveals, no matter how stressful or anxious life can become, we have this idea that it's not an idea, it's a reality, a realization that there's an infinite ocean of calm, of clarity, if you like, of love, to be experienced in that space between each thought. It's always there. Now, how this relates to day-to-day life, and we can't get away from the present situation. Now, the tendency for most of us, in fact, I'd say for most of us, we don't have any control over the nature of our thoughts, but our thoughts tend to follow a similar pattern. And I think it's true of all of us. When I start to talk about it, well, you nod your head, and yeah. And thoughts tend to be either relating to the past, and a memory of the past is really just a thought expressed in this present moment, or we project towards the future. So we can be thinking about how good things were maybe last year, how easy life was. At the same time, we can be projecting into the future, when things improve, when things get back to whatever normal was, which is all well and good. It's always perfectly fine. As I said at the start, perfectly natural to have these thoughts, these feelings, these emotions. But by maybe clinging or holding on to the past or projecting towards the future, this dilutes our experience of the here and now. And this is life. And so if you're too caught up in the past or projections to the future, you might miss the little things. For me, I love nature, the sound of a robin singing in the morning. It makes my heart soar, my spirit soar. And if I'm too caught up in thinking about the past or projecting towards the future, so I miss the delight in these little moments. It might just be talking to a loved one on the phone or over the internet, or just bumping into a neighbour as you're walking towards the shops. These are the little moments that make our lives. We've got the big things, Christmas or the holidays, but these little sparkles are what give our lives this delight. And so, as I said before, it's arrogant to think that you can change the nature of your thoughts or to clear your mind. There's no magic reset button. But with our practice, the yoga practice, we can realize the here and now through the physicality through, so if I feel like grounding myself, I'll practice some standing postures. The pranayama, and there's plenty of pranayama practices in the Ekhart files. I find that a good way also of connecting with the here and now. So we have these tools. We have these tools that we can draw upon. But we draw upon these tools without expectation as well. And that can be quite a challenging thing. There's no easy fix. We can unroll the yoga mat, or we can just sit onto a mat or sit onto a chair, connect with your breath. But if you try to actively seek out the stillness, the clarity, the love, it becomes all that more elusive. And so give yourselves the permission to just simply be. There's a word in yoga, in Sanskrit, which is moksha. Moksha means liberation. Now, liberation from what? And in a sense, it's the liberation from your thoughts, from your mind. Now, that's quite a big ask. As I said before, there's no magic reset button. We can't just clear our minds. But what we can do is, with love, with compassion, we can accept, we can acknowledge the nature of our mind, the nature of ourselves. And so, as opposed to liberation from our thoughts, from our mind, maybe it's just enough to, every once in a while, just to tune in and to recognize your thoughts. And upon that recognition of your thoughts, the nature of your thoughts, are they pertaining to the past? Are they grasping towards the future? Or is it a commentary upon the here and now? And just in that recognition of the thought process, so in a way you disempower that thought. And it has to be said, most thoughts don't really serve you in the here and now. And so as we sit, or as we practice pranayama, as we practice the asana, the more physical aspects, as much as you can, stay open, stay present to whatever arises. And you're not looking for the right thing to arise. You're not looking for the right thought, the right way to feel. Because in this present moment, you're simply expressing yourself, the unique expression of whom you are in the here and now. And in that recognition, in that realization, with the body, the breath, where our thoughts, where our feelings, where our emotions. But woven through this idea of ourselves is an infinite ocean of calm, an infinite ocean of clarity, which can be revealed through the practice, and it's always there. It never changes, and we can sometimes glimpse, get a feel of that experience in the simplicity of the space between each breath, in the clarity, in the spaces between each thought. So what I'd like us to do for these last few minutes is to inquire. Now, if you're lying back or if you're sitting, just change your position so you're still comfortable. It might be an idea to Maybe find yourself into a seated position. Excuse me while I sip my tea. It is live. It's a very nice organic chai, Indian chai tea, that. A little moment of delight there and then. So I invite you to sit with me, and there's no expectation, there's no agenda. As with life, as with each day, we have absolutely no idea what the day will bring us. We have no idea what our practice will reveal. But it's maybe just learning to witness, to feel, to experience, without automatically moving into labeling our thoughts or becoming involved with our thoughts. So as we sit, as I said at the start, as a group, a community. We sit as a sangha. Either eyes closed or your gaze lowered. And to begin with, just tuning in to the ebb, to the flow of your natural breath. Your breath arising from stillness. Your breath returning back to the stillness. So the space between each breath is as much a part of your breath as the inhalation and the exhalation. An awareness of your thoughts. Simply witnessing your thoughts as they arise in the sanctity of your mind space, and without your involvement, without your attachment, your thoughts dissolving back into the stillness of your mind space. You use your breath as a point of reference, a point of focus. Something upon which, when you find your mind drifting, when you find yourself distracted, something upon which you can return your focus. Not searching, not grasping. Simply being the unique experience, the unique expression of whom you are, right here, right now, in this present moment. And then still with your eyes closed or with your gaze lowered, can you bring the palms of your hands to rest together in front of your chest, in front of your heart center? In the position of your hands, also a gentle reminder that we are more than just our minds, more than just our thoughts. We are that unique experience in the space behind your breastbone, in your heart center, in your heart space. Beginning to rub the palms of your hands together. So we rub the palms together to create warmth, to create friction. And then resting the palms of your hands over your closed eyes. And opening your eyes into the warmth from your hands. Drawing your hands slowly down your face, so light filters between your fingers. Namaste. The soul within me recognizes the soul within you. So I hope you found a little talk useful. Remember, as you move through your days, you move through your practice, that all is temporary. All this around us, this current situation, temporary and ephemeral. Don't judge yourself for how you feel. There can be a tendency to always look to be productive or to try and be positive. And from my experience, that can be exhausting. So allow yourself to be non-productive, to give yourself time out. Allow yourself to feel however you feel. You're not always trying to feel positive, to be happy. But as much as you can, being aware of this fascinating process of life. And as I was saying earlier on, with the realization that you are so much more than just your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions. That stillness, the clarity, the love is what connects us all. So take care in these coming few days, weeks and months. And I look forward to filming some more classes with Ekhart Yoga. There's reference to the links to the classes on the YouTube, but whatever the teacher, whatever the classes, not just moving through the motions as we move through this day, remembering this is life, this is your practice, this is your unique experience of yourself and of your connection with the here and now, with the world around you. So I'm just going to come closer so I can see some of the comments to say bye. I know coming up for past now. Wow. Well, thank you very much. Thank you, Mandy. Ty, thank you. Patty. Hope, Alita. Hi. Yes, Matt's here in town tomorrow. And Phyllis, thank you. Bettina, hi. Yeah, thank you, Angela. Well, thank you very much for all your lovely comments. Any ideas? I'm going to be filming some classes actually next week. Art, thank you. Mary, thank you very much. Yeah, if you have any ideas for any classes, just put them up or send me a message on the Eckhart Yoga. Rita, thank you very much. Oh, thank you, Angela. Yeah, you know, these things, little reminders. It's difficult, especially when times are tough, but it's not to take your practice or yourself too seriously either. Nobody ever got to mock your liberation through being serious, but to move through life as much as you can with love in your heart, hopefully food in your belly, and a roof over your head. And we're very much blessed. Claudia, thank you very much. Ilse, thank you. And so we're going to be ending the live stream just now. And I'll catch up with you soon. Thank you.